Welcome to Sensitive and Self-Assured. Before we get to today's topic and guest introduction, let me tell you how I know you are in the right place. You feel everything, and somewhere along the way, you started believing that was a problem. My name is Alyssa, a highly sensitive woman who stopped trying to fix herself and started learning to trust herself instead. This podcast is for the woman who edits herself before she speaks, loses herself in relationships, and still quietly wonders if something is simply wrong with her. There is nothing wrong with you. Your sensitivity isn't a problem to fix, and self-assurance isn't out of reach. They belong together, and this is where the two meet. This is Sensitive and Self-Assured. Today's guest is a wife, a mom of three, a believer, a daughter, a sister, a friend, and someone who is simply trying to do her best, just like you. She too is on a journey of self-love and has discovered the healing powers of boudoir and portraiture. She has been a photographer for 15 plus years, and she believes being vulnerable and raw is where the real magic happens. Welcome, Vanessa Isenbarger.
Hello, welcome. Well, I guess I'm here. I'm excited.
I am so excited too, and we are going to get into you and the incredible work that you do. But before we do, I am going to talk a little bit more about my birthday this year. And I am not someone who typically does that. It's been a little bit weird to me. But for those of you who have been listening for a while, you know that turning 47 was a really big deal for me this year because it is the age that my grandmother was when she passed away. And honestly, it surprised me. I didn't know that it was going to feel so big until it got here. And because of that, I decided to do some really big things in honor of her and just celebrating life. And last week, I talked about finally accomplishing the goal of completing the Indie Mini that had been carrying with me for nearly 30 years. And the other thing that I did that I have not talked about on the podcast, but we are talking about it today, was I decided to do a boudoir photo shoot. And this is something that I have wanted to do since I went through my divorce and turned 40 and just kept putting it off until when I lose more weight, when I feel more confident, when blah, 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 fill in the blank, right? And when 47 rolled around, I was like, it's now or never, kind of. What am I waiting for? So I showed up and I took the photos, and this incredible woman sitting across from me is the one who did them. So I am so excited for her to be here. And if you have checked out the new podcast art, or you are on my email list and you've seen those photos coming in your inbox, she took those too. So we have so much to talk about. And now I am going to stop talking.
No, it's like, I love everything that you shared. And it takes me back to like the first time you called me and I heard how much it meant and like heard your story, and we dove deeper into that. And it's so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I know you hear so many incredible stories in the work that you do. Before we get to all of those, can you tell the listener just a little bit how you got into photography in general, and maybe like what you used to do before you really started specializing in boudoir, and then how your business evolved into boudoir?
Yeah. So have you ever heard of the idea that whatever you loved as a kid, whatever you were obsessed with, whatever you wanted to do all the time, is what you'd most be happiest as an adult? Have you heard that?
I have heard that, and in some ways I have experienced it, but interestingly enough, and maybe you did this too, I moved very far away from that for a long time.
That is so funny. Well, I have been in photography my whole life. So I used to take pictures. I was in photography classes. I'd roll around in my backyard and do selfies before selfies was a thing, and take like flower photos. I'd send them to everyone. I always thought it was amazing, but mostly it's just like my expression where I was like, hey, this is what I'm seeing. This is my world right now, and I want to share that with you. And so that progressed throughout college, where I continued that study and went into marketing, did marketing throughout college and then worked for a marketing firm, also running my own photography business. So I was doing both, working on the side, doing families, newborns, weddings. Honestly, I was really bad when I started out. I was so proud of myself, but I look back and I'm like, what was I thinking? Like, what was I doing? I can't believe it. But it did like lead me along. And eventually, like 10 years after starting, my daughter was born, or it was probably 6 years after, and my daughter was born, and I went full-time photography so I could be more flexible, kind of be my own boss, figure out, and then be home with my kids. So I made that a priority for me. And then I worked evenings, worked weekends, did newborn photography a lot, did families a lot. And I also, that after my daughter was born, that's when I ventured into my own self-portraiture of Boudoir, where I call it the lowest of my lows, where I was like in that deep, dark space where I didn't like my body. I didn't feel like any sexual desire. I really struggled in a lot of ways. And again, photography was my outlet to be my expression, to explore, to discover things. And I realized that, yeah, my body's different. It has the skin, the changing curves, but it also showed me how attractive I am with that changing form. So that was the beginning of my journey into that. And then it sprouted more people interested. This was like 10 years ago. I didn't really know what boudoir was. I didn't know it was a thing until I started doing it, until I had people reaching out, and I was like, yeah, let's try it. Let's explore together. Since then, I have transitioned completely to boudoir and to branding or portraitures of women, mostly boudoir, and have just found that deep, fulfilling purpose in that, and to help women see themselves in like an entirely new, confident, powerful way that leads. It's like so much more than photos. It helps them lead their life stronger and live fuller and without fears, without worrying about what does the world think of me. That doesn't matter anymore because I think of myself in an amazing way. And so that kind of is where I am now.
Oh gosh, I have so many questions, but one thing that really stood out to me as you were talking was when you were talking about, as a new photographer, you're like, oh, I look back, I was so bad when I started. And I know that's not what we're here to talk about today, but I think that's a really powerful thing, that so many of us don't do the thing because we think that we are so bad at it. And the only way that we get good at it is to do the thing.
Yeah. It's so true. And I do think that we don't talk about it enough, where we see our role models or we see these successful people and we're like, wow, they're there. They are killing it. I could never be there. But then they had that beginning. They had the start where they were like just learning and going through the beginning process where you don't even know what you're doing. So it totally resets, and it gives you that mindset of like, yeah, I can start with wherever I'm at. It's very humbling, but also encouraging, right?
Yes, it is. And you become the person through the process of doing. I mean, I think back to when I first had this idea of doing the podcast, and I had no idea about any of it. I didn't know how to do the technology part. I didn't know how in the world was I going to come up with something to talk about every single week. And again, comparing myself to these people who had been doing it for years and years and had figured all of that out. And in the process of showing up each week and doing it, like, I have been changed by the process, and I love doing it so much. And I know that you love doing the work that you are doing so much. And that's what's so cool, is we become changed through the process.
Mm-hmm. And sculpted. And then it helps you like build your skill set, or even appreciate where you're at. Like, you are stronger, more knowledgeable, more skilled than like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And one of my favorite books or mindsets is like, to become a professional, to become an expert, you need, what is it, like 10,000 hours to put into it? I'm pretty sure that's like the time frame. So like, it's a constant thing of putting hours and hours and hours. And if you never put the first hour in, you're not going to be anywhere with it.
Yes. And that appreciation that you mentioned, that kind of takes me back to something else that you said in the beginning of you were in the lowest of lows. And I think so many of us can relate to our lowest of lows, and that may look different for different people, but I certainly know what my lowest of low looks like. And it does create an appreciation for the life that I have now in a way that I might not have had. But I might not have had I not had that very low point to compare to. And I also think that is true of this experience that I had with you of doing the boudoir shoot. While it was a goal that I had and wanted to do, when I was turning 40 and going through the divorce, I think I did it at the time I was supposed to do it. And my reason for doing it was similar and yet different. And I know one of the things that I said to you on the day of the photo shoot is, I'm doing this for me. When I scheduled it, I didn't have a partner. I hoped one was coming, but it really wasn't about anything truly like sexual or anything like that. It was something to do for me and for my own confidence and to feel comfortable in my own skin. And I don't know that I would have done it exactly for those reasons had I done it when I was going through a divorce or just after when I was turning 40. So that leads me to just the stories that you hear from so many of the women who come to you for Boudoir, and what a gift that is for you that they trust you. And, if you can just talk a little bit about that and maybe some of those low points and comparisons that they have, and just kind of what you get to see with all of the amazing women that you work with.
Yeah, for sure. It's hard to just pinpoint one thing. I do truly believe that what you said, whenever someone calls me or whenever they step in the studio, that is the time that they're meant to be here. And that means they are ready for that experience and ready to see themselves in that way. So if you're not ready, if you're not like feeling that, that's okay. It doesn't matter. Whenever you're feeling that pull or that urge or that need to see yourself through a new lens, that is the time for you. And it could be when you're 80 years old. And if you're like, yeah, I want to see that, I want to feel that, that's your time. Or if it's when you're getting married or wherever it is, that's the right time for you. But I do hear a lot of different struggles. The thing that I think as most women, the overarching thing is that we want to do it, but we're scared to do it. And we're scared to see what I see. We're scared that we're going to go through all of it and then not like a single photo. And that is one of the biggest fears that we hold. And today I had a photo reveal. She had done a shoot before, came in to celebrate 3 years being sober, and wanted to see that shift in herself, that honoring her, where she feels more herself, more in control and directing where she's at. And I sat with her and I'm like, are you ready? Are you excited? And she's like, I am so nervous to see my photos. And it blows my mind because every woman that comes in, I'm just enamored. I'm like, I'm in awe of their beauty that stands before me because it's incredible. Like I always say, I'm not comparing you to any other version of yourself because I don't know any other version. I know this woman right in front of me, and she's incredible. And she's so beautiful. So this woman today, I was talking to her and she's so nervous. And she told me, she was like, I'm afraid that my perfectionist brain is going to see this and pick out my flaws. My flaws, right? The air quote, the ones that we've been taught to believe, the ones that we are constantly putting on ourselves because we feel like we can't ever meet expectations. So she was terrified. She did see her photos. She was shocked, and obviously, but also in love, and saw like a million different versions of herself. And just, she said, I cannot believe that this is me, because her brain has told her for so long that she's needs to change X, Y, and Z, that she's not good enough, that she will always have flaws to pick out. And that is a hard space to be in for women. I think right there is what gets me the most aggravated. Or I want to like take on the world and be like, no, women do not need to hold these standards. We do not need to live for these other people. We need to find that in ourselves. And that's what this experience is to give you that like leap, give you that space to not worry about the flaws or the things that you're holding on to, and just let go and see yourself in a really like vibrant, new, fresh perspective. And I'll show you the shadows, the curves, the artistry that exists within you. So that is, I think, the overarching thing that I hear women, no matter what, like they could be getting married, getting divorced, dating, a single, having a baby. We all hold that fear that we're not good enough. That I have all these women in my Instagram or portfolio. They all look amazing, but I'm going to be the one that's not good enough. And so I love shocking everyone. I love changing their reality and being like, no, you are freaking amazing. And you can walk out of this space like shaking that booty, walking so tall, taking on the world, doing whatever you want to because you can. And you are worth it. And you're worth like wearing that bikini, because their opinions, anyone else's opinions, don't matter. So that's a sneak peek.
Yes. And I know for me, my reveal, I mean, I got emotional, and I'm sure a lot of women do. I mean, it's no secret, right, that all emotions come out of me in tears, but it was a very, very emotional experience. And there is also a part of me who is simultaneously like more confident and comfortable in my own skin now, with the size that I am and the wrinkles and the stretch marks and all of those things that I have. And also I grieve for the woman in her teens and 20s. Whew, I'm getting emotional talking about it now. When I look back at photos of myself and I think, man, what I wouldn't give to look like that now. And I know all of the things that I was saying to myself then. I know all of the things that I was not doing, the activities I was not participating in, the social gatherings, all of the things that I was not doing because I didn't have an outfit to wear that I felt comfortable in. And I was standing in the mirror and I was trying on all of the things, and I was like, no, 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 and ultimately decided not to go. And I grieve for that woman. And I also, again, kind of that comparison, I also celebrate that most of the time that doesn't get to me anymore.
Mm-hmm. And that stepping block right there. It's true. But it does hurt knowing that we like most of us, I would say most women, are shaped by those fears of what other people think, or not living fully, not taking those leaps or going swimming or going to that party because we're afraid of judgment in that area. So it is really cool that you can recognize where you've come from and the changes that you had to make. Honestly, it's probably more of like shedding things, like shedding negativity, fears, limitations that we've placed. I mean, like, oh, wait, is this what I want in my life? Did I choose this for myself? No, I didn't put that there. Okay, let's like take that away. Let's remove that from our life, whether it's a person, an outfit that's not fitting right, whether it's a mindset that's doing something, or Instagram, if it's like inundating you with like these crazy fitness people it's time to like let those go so we can live like freer, live fuller, and be our own self, whatever form that is at.
Absolutely. As you were saying that, I was thinking back. You had a 40 over 40 event not too long ago, and I was so honored to be part of that and to get to go to the event. And one of my friends with me, and on our drive to that event, we were talking about spring break, and she was sharing that she and her family have gone on a beach trip for I forget how many years, and she kind of had this story in her mind that we aren't beach people, as far as like, we don't go sit on the beach. We like to go to the beach for our vacation, but then we spend our time doing other things that just happen to be in a beach town. And she said she really sat with it and realized, oh, wait, I actually love the beach. I love to go sit on the beach all day long and read a book. And it was, again, that idea of she'd had so many people in her life say, we're not beach people, that she just took it on. And when she stopped to really think about it for herself, she's like, actually, I am a beach person through and through. And I think it's really important. So many of us, we go through our lives having these beliefs. And when we stop and really think about it, we don't even know where they came from a lot of times. And when we start to challenge them and choose beliefs on purpose, that's when things really start to change.
Okay, can we re-say that? Choose beliefs on purpose. Like, we are intentionally deciding what we're keeping in our life, in our brain. That is so powerful. We need that on a t-shirt right now. I love that so much. And good for her that she was able to analyze that. I feel like in that instance, she's going on vacation year after year to a beach. Obviously, she is so close. Like, she knows on some level that she wants to be there at the beach, but she wasn't able to fully like allow herself to do it. So in our own life, if we find ourselves doing something where we're like, hey, yeah, I want to go to that race or something, like, you almost get there, or you're very close and you realize, like, actually, I want to go all in on this. See what happens next. That's where magic happens right there. Like, you just did your race. That was huge.
Yeah, it was. And I think that thing that won't go away, whatever it is, right? For me, it was this race, it was this photo shoot. There have been a number of other things in my life that it just won't go away. I keep coming back to it. Yeah. I think we all have those things. And so for those of you who are listening, if you have something that just won't go away and it keeps coming up in your life, if the universe, God, whoever, like, if it just keeps presenting itself to you, it probably started as a whisper and then it became a pebble, and now it's a boulder that you can no longer ignore. You got to do the thing, whatever the thing is. And if it's shedding something, if it's adding something, whatever the thing is, you got to do it.
Do it. Don't hold back. You'll feel it. You'll like literally have those moments where you're like, I'm so glad I did this. Instead of having those moments where it's like, oh, I wish I did that. I wish I was brave enough to do that, or move on, or whatever form it is.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my goodness. I have just loved getting to know you, and I'm so glad that we got to have this conversation. And I know that we have more photo shoots ahead.
I know. Sure. You are so photogenic, and it's been a joy to like jump into that side of yourself. And I think even on this journey where you're learning this side of yourself and exploring like your intro of like, hey, yeah, I'm a sensitive woman. That's my superpower. And I want to help other women on that journey too, and know that they're not alone. That is incredible, because we oftentimes do feel like we're alone. And so when we join forces, come together and say, no, we got this. We're here together. We're here stronger, and we're here to uplift each other. That's where our like circles become bigger, and we get to help each other find their own paths, be their own best version of themselves.
Yes.
And that's what you're doing. I love that.
Yeah. And so are you, right? Like, it looks different. And yet the the ultimate goal and outcome are very similar. It is, like you said, women supporting other women, and it is really tapping into that self-criticism and helping someone else see themselves through our eyes, because whether we're talking about someone's body and physical appearance or the emotions that they are experiencing, we are not judging them the way that they are judging themselves. And so to give them some insight into how others are viewing them, I think is a really special gift that we can do for others, because people have done that for us along the way. And so now we get to pay it forward.
Yeah, I love that so much. That's amazing.
If someone wanted to schedule a session with you, or maybe just learn more about the work that you are doing, where can they find you?
So my website's great, boudoirbypearl.com. And then from there, it branches out. We have our own private Facebook group, which I love. I feel like we have our own little community on. So that's all linked on my website. And then there's Instagram, which I share a lot of my portfolio as well. As long as I'm not shadow banned, which I am a lot, but that's okay. I'm still here showing up, even if some people, social media doesn't like it very much. That's okay. But Pearl Fine Art Studios is my public page, and then Pearl Fine Art Boudoir is my private women only Instagram page. So I have lots of different avenues for that. But usually, like, if people have questions or want to know more, I usually schedule a phone call to chat with them and answer questions, get to know them, hear their story, go over everything. So it's a more personal experience altogether.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be here today. Thank you so much for the incredible experiences that I have had with you, and for creating my new brand photos and podcast art. I love them so much. And for those of you who are listening, I just want to leave you with this reminder that you were never meant to abandon yourself to get through life. You were meant to live it sensitive and self-assured. Until next time, take care.